Patrick, could you please speak and we test your audio? Patrick, as we are waiting for Patrick, Alan, could you please speak so that we can test your audio?
Okay, thank you. Once again, good morning, everyone about this call. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you.
Have a presentation?
Okay, I can get to my slides.
You could share so that I can align it with.
Oh, sure.
All right. And also, just so you know,
Um,
the readout is being streamed live on YouTube as well.
okay, great.
Uh, Cliff, are you saying something? I see your lips moving, but I can't hear anything.
Oh, thank you, Gloria, for bringing that to my attention. I just realized my audio was not activated. I was on mute. I was thanking you all for making it on time and for committing some time over uh, Friday. Friday is usually a busy day, but thank you so much for committing your time to make it for this ICANN 84 readout, the Uganda readout. And I was requesting if we could have about 5 more minutes to allow people to join in, and then also so that we can get into the program for the day, as some of the speakers have engagements that are coming up soon. Also, as another communication, I just wanted to let you know that the event is being streamed live on YouTube. So feel free to share with anyone you feel needs to attend this ICANN 84 readout. All right. Thank you for waiting. And in interest of time, requesting that we start. And now that our first moderator is on the call, allow me to invite Sheila Kakoza, who will be taking us through the next part of the program.
Thank you, Cliff. Good morning, everyone. Kindly confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
My name is Sheila Kapoza, and I am grateful to be here. Thank you for being able to make it, whoever is on the call. So I am the first panelist for this readout, and I will be moderating a high-level panel session. My panelists are Gloria Katuku from NITAYU, Michael Bamwesije from UCC, and Alan Magezi. So I'm going to give a brief intro on the panelists before we can invite them to start. So like I mentioned earlier, the panelists on this panel, we are honored, more than honored, to have such highly intelligent and very well-informed people when it comes to the works of ICANN and the DNS, management of the DNS and internet governance. We have Ms. Gloria Atwine Katuku, who is the Acting Director for Planning, Research and Development at NITAU, that is the National Information Technology Authority of Uganda. And she leads policy and research efforts and that support Uganda's digital transformation. She has been very vocal when it comes to the internet governance landscape of Uganda, and as well as serving on the government advisory committee representing Uganda to ICANN. And then Michael Bamwesije is the head of information technology at the Uganda Communications Commission. And he has over 15 years experience in managing large-scale IT infrastructure and network security. He is also endowed with a lot of experience in cybersecurity, regulatory policy, and that is why he is a very perfect fit to be on this panel. And then we have Alan Magezi, who is a digital policy analyst with the Internet Society Uganda chapter. We are also very glad to have him here. And more importantly, he's also a former ICANN fellow. He's an ICANN fellowship alumni of ICANN 73. He has a lot of experience in universal acceptance, DNS, and is very active and vocal in the national and regional initiatives. Sorry about that. So we're going to start. We're going to start with Miss Gloria. Kindly confirm if you can hear me.
Hello. Yes, I can hear you. How are you? Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I am in between meetings. I'm just going to put a little bit of my screen. You can see who's talking to you. My name is Katuku Gloria. I'm a director at the National IT Authority, Planning, Research and Development, and I'm Uganda's GAC representative. So I thank you so much for inviting me to speak to you and be part of this year's ICANN readout. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and fellow internet users and stewards, as we reflect on the insights and outcomes of ICANN 84, this was a pivotal gathering at the time when global internet standards at a high stake. We were looking at both policies, we are looking at both models that can work well. So I thank you so much for inviting me. I was told to look at global DNS governance trends on ICANN perspective, and mostly I'm going to only concentrate on what ICANN 84 was detailing and the timelines and what was at stake and what's at stake for us and the takeaways from us. So as we consider the future of domain names governance, we must learn from the conversation and decisions made, especially at ICANN 84 Dublin meeting, for they shape not only the DNS, but also the broader architecture of internet. So what was very key at ICANN 84? Of course, it took place, it has just included just ahead of the global review of WSIS plus 20, and also aligning the global DNS governance agenda with the broader debates about the future of internet. The meeting also cleared the way for the next expansion of a round of generic top-level domain names scheduled for 2026. This is a new opportunity for us within the space to influence how domain name space evolves globally. What are some of the key trends or outcomes from ICANN 84? Of course, we have the domain name abuse and security. Here, the domain name DNS abuse, including phishing, malware, remained very key and top at the center of the ICANN discussion, ICANN 84 discussion. Of course, the participants recognized that malicious actors exploit the DNS infrastructure, and it was noted by most of all participants that it's still a key challenge that needs to be addressed and kept at the front of it by the community. Also, the community flagged the gaps within the migration of frameworks, especially around bulk domain name registration, high-level API registration associated with domain names. Members, the meeting also underscored the need to balance operational security within human rights concerns. Any key mitigations were considered, such as privacy, freedom of expression, and popularity. So at ICANN 84, what were our takeaways, or what can we take away from this? DNS abuse is no longer a niche of a technical issue. It is a global governance priority. ICANN and the global domain name DNS community are increasingly treating DNS as a critical infrastructure, needing proactive rights of awareness and regulation. So this is what we can take away from us in today's readout. Also, with respect to new GTLD and inclusion opportunities and risks, at ICANN 84, the board approved the final applicant guidebook. For us to note, the next GTLD cycle is framed not only to domain expansion, but as an opportunity for geographic economic inclusion. Our takeaways as we get into the next GTLD round, we could reshape the namescape space of internet by offering more inclusivity, diversity, and diversity. Members, as we continue in today's discussion, I hope we'll look out at the registration of data, transparency and access and accessibility and accountability as one of the key things that were discussed under ICANN 84 Dublin. The meeting revisited the future of registration of data request services as a mechanism for lawful access to non-public registration data for GTLD. I know that you have all this information that you can go in detail and look at it. So members of the internet community of Uganda, what is our takeaway within this space? Registration data access remains a constant domain, balancing transparency and law enforcement needs against privacy and data protection consideration. Post-ICANN 84 period will be decisive in defining normative standards for data access globally, as we look at our own laws that govern data protection and privacy, that govern the domain DNS infrastructure within country. We need to be mindful of what is happening globally. And also in today's take, what we need to look at, we need to understand that the governance model and the multi-stakeholder legitimacy is always at the forefront of all ICANN. So as we look at in today's topic, why WSIS matters, or how, as we read, we review ICANN 84, we need to make sure that the multi-stakeholder model is legitimized. We need to make sure that we involve all stakeholders in the governance of internet. As a global internet governance debate intensifies, of course, ICANN 84 reaffirmed the centrality of multi-stakeholder model involving governments, technical committees, civil society, business as the backbone of DNS governance. So that is why I come from the perspective of Government Advisory Committee, and we are part of the global ICANN community. However, participants also acknowledge the growing tension that can be driven from a bottom-up process, keeping up with the fast-moving threats, especially with the global DNS abuse. So, members, as you continue to discuss, note that at ICANN, these were things that were considered, and DNS was one of the key topics that was underway. So what can ICANN 84 signify for us all? Well, as we continue to engage, look at policy development acceleration, look at further the planned DNS abuse policy development across, and make sure that we provide for inclusive expansion of our within our DNS space, domain name space. Members, as I conclude, know that WSIS plus 20 matters. It has come to a time where we are all involved, looking at how what we've achieved over the years. It is very important in the future of shaping the internet to look at what we have achieved at WSIS plus 20, and then how is it evolving globally. So I've been honored to join you today in the moment when the future of the internet really is growing, and I look forward to the discussions that are going to come out of this meeting. Of course, we know that among the key discussions at ICANN 24, of course, we had a session WSIS plus 20, especially that after marking 20 years since the World Summit of Information Society, and of course, looking at the evolution of the various ICANN roles and in the global DNS space. So together, they are very key topics that you capitalizing on, and we look at renewed focus, renewed energy, and renewed cooperation, especially with respect to digital cooperation and rights. And we look forward to collaborating with all the stakeholders and working with you to make sure that the future of our internet is secure, and it's open, secure, and inclusive. So thank you so much once again for inviting me. Sorry, I'm running in between meetings, but I will be available to, before you close, I will come back to hear in the panel discussion and what they have to say and what they have to collaborate with. And I look forward to great discussions and collaboration. So thank you so much once again. I wish you fruitful discussion and engagement, and will be available for questions later. Thank you. Over to you, Cliff. Once again, apologies because I'm rushing through. I just came out of a meeting and I have to excuse myself to another meeting. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Gloria. We're more than honored to have you, and I'm glad that you're going to come back later for panel discussion, because I have a couple of questions for you to get more of your guidance and expertise as far as internet governance is concerned. Thank you so much. We will hear from you later. I'm going
Thank
to go
you.
ahead and introduce Alan Magezi. Alan, confirm if you can hear me, please.
Yes, I can.
Right. Thank you so much, Alan, for taking your time to meet us and speak with us. The floor is yours. But before Alan proceeds, kindly note that each speaker has 10 minutes, so I'm going to urge you as much as possible to keep time. Yeah, over to you, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shira. Thank you so much, Cliff. Once again, my name is Alan Magez, and as had been earlier introduced. Apologies for my video. I may not be able to project it, but nevertheless, let me proceed and share my insights. I was invited in basically to talk about the new GTLDs and universal acceptance. And under the new GTLDs, we are looking at the outcomes from the next round. This ICANN 84 was very important in line with the work schedule, the roadmap for the new GTLDs, the next round, because ICANN had projected earlier that the next round would be ready by April next year, 2026. So you understand, according to the schedule, we only have one meeting to the deadline, and that's the meeting of 85, which is in Mumbai. So it was important that all working committees work around the corner to make sure that at least according to the pipeline, most of the phases are implemented or are already reached on. Gloria has hinted on the fact that one of the critical issue under the next round was the applicant guidebook, and we are glad that the board approved it, but I'm also aware that the document is not yet fully published from the board. So this is why the ICANN 84 was very important in line with implementation of the new GTLDs. GTLDs, I don't know, I don't want to speak some sort of rocket science. I want every one of us to be in line with what we are saying, because I understand ICANN being an all stakeholder engagement community. We might have a couple of individuals, for example, I'd earlier invited someone from the Law Society, so we may be speaking the new GTLDs and probably they don't have some little background. I wanted to use a couple of my minutes, the 10 minutes, to briefly shed light to bring to speed to where we are in terms of the new GTLDs. Let me go back in the time. Before I can introduce the idea to bring in the new GTLDs next round, we had, of course, the first round already running that was implemented in 2012. But I think also this may not make sense. Let me first go back from, and someone, okay, someone from lawyer was saying that we're too technical. Okay, let me start from what the DNS, the domain name. Let me explain the GTLDs from the domain name perspective, so that I want to make sure we are all at the same level. Well, if I take an example of a domain name, for example, www.icann.org, that is a name, and that name has 3 layers. There's a bottom layer, which we call the third level domain, then, and that is www. Then ICANN is the second or the middle layer, which is the middle layer or the second domain. And the first one, which is the first level, is the .org. So now our interest is on that .org. It is what we call the top level domain, and that's where our conversion comes from. So under the top level domain, we have 2 types. We have one that is specific and one that is not specific. So the one that is specific is always called the CCTLD. And that, an example of that is .ug, .uk, and mainly run by government. And ICANN does not manage or operate the CCTLDs. It only advises. Gloria was on call. She's under GAC, and she's one of the members of GAC that just handle specifically the top level domain names under CCTLD. So our interest here, the other one is, which is non-specific, is the GTLD. So that is where ICANN work mainly runs around. So, and that's what we are going to dwell on. So these GTLDs, ICANN manages and operates them. So initially we had what we call the legacy GTLDs. Okay, for purposes of this conversation, we are going to say the old GTLDs. And these were specifically 7 of them. Quoting random examples, .com, .net, .org, .education, .gov, that was for the US government, then for the military. So there are 7 of them. And those were the old ones, the legacy GTLDs. Now, the new GTLDs were more. For example, we have .tech, .shop, .bank, .attorney, .london, .amazon. So from that example, you can know that the new GTLDs were more in number because the old ones were just 7. So ICANN later on agreed that no, we should expand it more, and those were the new GTLDs. So they are big, they are more in number. So the difference ideally between the legacy GTLDs and the new GTLDs lies in 2 aspects. Basically, one of them is numbers. Of course, the one, like I said, the others were about 7 of them. And I think that was around 1980. So by 2013, the new GTLDs were already in effect by 2012. And we had over 1,200 stream characters. So by that, you can see that the numbers were more and they're more specific. And actually, there was more recognition under the new GTLDs. More also important to note under the new GTLDs is the language support. The old GTLDs were mainly Latin scripts, but these new ones, we have the non-Latin scripts. Now, Latin scripts is basically, in simple terms, is basically the English alphabet. Then the non-Latin script is, for example, the Chinese, the Latin. So, and those are called the internationalized domain names, which are supported by the universal acceptance. Later in our conversation, we're going to look at how universal acceptance comes in. So it comes in to be able to recognize these internationalized domain names. So I think now I'm trying to build the picture for us to, to understand our conversation. So now we know why we have the new GTLDs. The reason is because they are more in number, there's more language support, they support non-Latin scripts, and also they are more specific. So there's more brand recognition. So with that background, let me now go to our key issue here, which is the new GTLDs. Like I said, the reason why ICANN brought in the new GTLDs was basically the idea of expanding the DNS to make it more by adding more GTLD captions. So in that, there was increase in consumer choice, more increase in competition, and also better performance in this increasingly, crowded digital landscape. So that's where the new GTLDs come. Under the new GTLDs, we had, of course, the first round, because now we're talking about the next round. Definitely, we had the first round. And the first round is what I told you about that occurred around 2012, where we had in more, GTLDs included or brought in by ICANN. So now we are moving on to the next round. The only difference between those is ideally in structure, in management, application fees. For example, previously, the application fee for GTLD, actually, which is still running, was $1,850. But under the new GTLDs that are going to be implemented in April next year, the application fees has risen to $2,270,000. So you get the difference. So here the difference is just about how you manage conflict resolution, how you manage how it is structured, and to make it more resilient and also increase innovation, creativity. There's no difference between the first round and the next round. So now, from that background, let's focus on the next round. I've been trying to give that little background so that we are on the same page on why this ICANN 84 and hence this readout was very important to us. Under the next round, of course, the ultimate goal by ICANN was to expand the DNS, because here organizations are able to apply for their own custom generic top level domains. For example, I just quoted .lo, .shop, .city, .amazon, and so on. So these organizations, communities or businesses, even governments, are able to make tailor-made internet addresses for expansion or outreach all over the internet. So these communities are able to specifically, they're able to specify their identity because of this next round. So now we come to the pipeline and the latest update that was on during the ICANN 84. And I was instructed to look at the opportunities, and here I'm going to put it in perspective to Africa or Uganda's context. And for me, my takeaway, especially in our context, is ideally on how companies or organizations on the African continent should prepare for the next round. I think from my takeaway, I would look at 3 key issues. One of them is, please, let's study the applicant guidebook. It is a 456 page document that gives us a detailed format on how to benefit from the next round. We are glad that the applicant guidebook has gone through different phases and now to a level that has been approved by ICANN, like Gloria said. And thanks to the implementation review team of the applicant guidebook, I'm also aware that it was supposed to be launched by December, but it will be launched in March next year, just before or during the Mumbai meeting, ICANN 85. Then another takeaway I think our companies or institutions on the African continent should engage in is the applicant support program. Because of the fees increment I talked about, remember it has increased from 185 to 227. So ICANN came in with a program, the applicant support program, mainly to step in on the financial constraints. So organizations are able to get financial support through this program, and and according to the statistics that were given out during the ICANN 84, I noticed that because some of these programs are mainly supposed to cater for or support institutions or communities from underserved regions. And here when you're talking about underserved regions, unfortunately, we are looking at mainly Africa. So if I looked at the numbers, for example, we had under the pipeline right now of the applicant support program, we have about 39 submitted, then 6 applicants. I think one was conditionally approved, then only 2 approved. But from that, I think the numbers risen from 7 to 12 applicants from African region, which is really something promising. But in our Ugandan context or African context, my prayer is that at least more of the institutions engage more into this applicant support program so that we are able, to get these resources and also implement the next round. Otherwise, it's a little bit expensive for our institutions to handle these applicant fees. Then another one, of course, which ICANN is focusing on is engaging in the registry service provider evaluation program. That is also very important. I think I can also highlight that. That opened. Okay, the window is a bit closed because it started and it was opened in November, I think 19th November to last year, and closed in May this year, I think 20th May this year. So unfortunately, the window is closed, but understand the next window might be opened in, next year. So please, our key takeaway in regard to the next round is entirely on us engaging in these 2 or these 3 key parameters. We thank ICANN for stepping forward to do as much as possible to support all applicants. Thank you so much. That I will stop here for now, but I'll be available for more engagement because we've been given 15 minutes to get this done or wrapped. So I'll be open to any questions in regard to the next round of GTLDs. Thank you. Back to you, Shira.
Thank you so much, Alan. I'd actually given you 5 extra minutes, but worry not, because there's a panel session coming up, which you are part of. So maybe there it will actually be more of a Q&A. But just before we move on to the next person, we had a question from someone above. How do we benefit from the applicant support program? Because our neighbors, for example, Kenya, are benefiting a lot. They're getting a lot from it, while us, we're not at par with them.
Okay, thank you. Maybe let me take on that. I think here the ball lies in our court as Ugandans. It is about how aggressive you get to know and how you engage as quickly as possible. Most of the resources, the announcements, the deadlines are always. Please also, let's make good use of the websites. The website is available. These dates are usually communicated. What brings us shortages here is on dates. Sometimes we apply when the deadlines have already been hit. But I understand Kenya, of course, Kenya has a couple of advantages in terms of awareness. For example, we can say they have an official ICANN outreach office. So information flow in Nairobi is a little bit faster than Uganda, but that shouldn't be a reason for us to be lagging behind, because too much of capacity building sessions are being held. Actually, Gloria didn't tell you, but too much of the sessions under the new GTLD next round was on capacity building. ICANN held 4 specific capacity building for GAC, only for government advisory committees, and these were still open to everyone. They were open sessions. So you understand that there's too much capacity building, and actually this session is also more of capacity building. Let us engage into these capacity building sessions, so we get to know of these dates and also get to know how the program is running. So it still goes back to what I said, that we need to be more aggressive when it comes to taking up these resources. Kenya, the only difference between us and Kenya is more of being aggressive, knowing what you want and chasing it, going after it. Thank you so much. Otherwise, it's open. There's really no, when someone meets the criteria, all the necessary guidelines needed. Once you meet all the deadline, once you meet all those criteria, you definitely get the support. Thank you so much, Shira. Maybe if I can take on another question, I hope that is answered.
Thank you very much for that insightful and eye-opening session. Before we proceed, I'd like to convey Michael Bamwesige's sincere apologies for not being able to make it. And like Gloria had earlier mentioned, she's in a meeting right now, but she will join us later. And at the top of the hour, I will introduce Patrick Kiza. But for now, I'm seeing the participation is growing. Thank you everyone for coming. And I would like anyone to, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I will present them as they are being stated. We started with the high-level sessions, but I would like to invite Cliff to give an opening remark from the Uganda DNS Forum.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I'm requesting that I give my opening remarks as closing remarks so that we keep up the momentum we built for the rest of the speakers. Thank you. Maybe what I do request is that we can take in a couple more questions for Alan before we proceed to the next segment of this readout.
Oh, sure. I'm happy to welcome the questions in regard to the new GTLDs. You know, ICANN is entire mandate runs around management of the DNS, and when we talk about these new GTLDs, it is where the core, where the heart of the operation of the mission of ICANN is. So it is important that we speak more, we deliberate, we discuss more on this topic. Actually, I'd been told also to talk about the universal acceptance, but later under the program and a couple of speakers, I've seen that I think Emma would speak more on the universal acceptance. I just wanted to give more time to the new GTLDs and the next round especially. So let's have a couple of questions. Let's have a discussion around this, especially for my people from different stakeholder groups. This is for you. The new GTLD next round is for you. I've just told you that the ICANN is building this next round in regard to expanding the commercial sector, in regard to expanding competition between consumers, in regard to expanding consumer choices in regard to the end users, people benefit from the services. If you look at a top TLD, for example, .amazon, we have too much of business under this. So anything or any idea around this is very important for us in regard to how we use, how we benefit, and how internet is too much of beneficial to us. So please, let's have a detailed discussion around this. ICANN is very, very, very interested in how it will implement, like we're all anticipating this is going to be put into perspective or implemented next year around April. And according to how the timelines are, ICANN is on track. What was maybe, for example, bringing some setback was approval of the applicant guidebook by the ICANN board, because in there were a couple of a few issues to tackle and handle, but we are glad that that has been done. Actually, from the meeting, from the ICANN meeting, the implementation review team had projected by 30th December. That's when probably the board would approve. But thank God, this is already almost done. So there's a little shift, and that is all in line to beat the deadline, so that by next year April, this next round is done, and people, the DNS has really expanded. Organizations, communities are benefiting, all businesses are benefiting, even government are benefiting from the internet. So it will be, you know, your specifications will be identified easily. These addresses will explode the outreach all over the internet. So you'll have more. You'll have a bigger space to catch. For example, those who are in the consumer or commercial sector, this new GTLD next round is very important for us. So I welcome all questions so that we have a detailed discussion around this. It is really very, very, very important. And this ICANN 84 gave us a vote of confidence that yes, much as ICANN had started this as a proposal or a projection, it is coming to light. And for us as African region or Uganda, this is something that we need to come into and we have a detailed discussion and you see how we benefit from the internet. You know, one of them, and very, very, we are very humble, we are very grateful to ICANN, is the introduction of the applicant support program. This is something that, please go into the website, read the requirements. This is actually made for us because ICANN looks at equal participation. So that's why it comes in to support people from the underserved region. If an organization is here, or there's a community here that needs, they can tap into this applicant support program. Please go onto the website, read through, look at what is needed, look at when the next window is coming up. I've just given the statistics that already Africa is doing well. From 7 to 12, there's been an increment of 2. I'm not just sure if Uganda has benefited. I think Uganda has not, but mainly Kenya. I think Egypt as well. So please, Uganda, we need to tap into this and we see how we build our DNS. Thank you. Back to Shira. In case we have a couple of questions, we can have this discussion. It cannot be around the new GTLDs. You can ask a question or around, as long as it is around the top level domain, the DNS, I'll be happy to come in and try to answer a couple of questions. It is actually the reason why I first gave that brief background from what the domain name is, so that we bring up to speed, considering the fact that in our meeting, we have people from all different stakeholder groups. So we want to be as specific, as very simple as possible, so that, these digital citizens can pick the conversation and bring it up to speed. Thank you. Back to you, Shira.
Thank you so much, Alan, for that. So to wrap up my part, the previous speakers have mainly been centering on policy and the technical bit of ICANN 84. We had Gloria talking about the previous engagement as a GAC representative for Uganda. We had her hinting on the WISIS 20 upcoming meeting. And we had her talking about the new GTLD program, but on the policy side, more of the policy side. And then Alan has given us a very insightful and thorough breakdown of that new program by ICANN on the technical side of it. Although, Alan, I'm requesting that you talk a little bit about universal acceptance, since it's also your area. It's also your area of expertise. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shira, for guiding the meeting. What I ideally should start off from the universal acceptance. I'm not sure where I should start from, but what I can bring in is how universal acceptance, like I said in our I'd hinted on the fact when I was trying to break down the difference between the legacy GTLDs and the new GTLDs. I talked about under the new under the old legacy. Okay, the old GTLDs, there were about 7, and these, like I said, these were, for example, .org, .education, .net. Those were under Latin scripts. Then the new GTLDs, we have several that are even non-Latin scripts, like, for example, Arabic, Chinese, and those are called internationalized domain names. Now, for us to have that implementation on board is when we bring in the aspect of universal acceptance. Why I didn't want also to speak to universal acceptance is because it will only make me, I'm only going to cater for international domain names. But universal acceptance also embraces email addresses. And to that effect, there's been a large conversation in regard to how, for example, from adoption, we started off from awareness, adoption, up to where we are. I think we are lucky there's a screen being shared, but as I speak to that, maybe no, the first one. Yes, I was at that point. I was trying to bring into perspective of internationalized domain names. These are supported by universal acceptance, of course, in regard to as well as all email addresses. So this conversation of universal acceptance, why it was important in regard to the new GTLDs is because we need it to align. For example, we started off from awareness. Awareness was created, then adoption. So ICANN, together with the working groups of universal acceptance, there was need for them to be at the same level so that by April next year, there's already adoption, there's already readiness of universal acceptance, so that at least there's no some sort of a clash in terms of implementation of the new GTL this next round. So from a couple of sessions from the universal acceptance that I attended, several working groups have really given in too much of their effort, and understand we have reached at the same level. So by the time it is ready, the new GTL this next round will also be ready. So we shall have the adoption part will be ready. So there will be a matching. I'm trying to see how I can break it so that it makes it gives a brief background. I didn't want to go into the whole entire universal acceptance because it's a little bit complex, because then we have the universal acceptance days. We have what universal acceptance is, which ideally is all domain names need to work everywhere, including the long ones, the new GTLDs. We need to have all these email addresses accepted. So that is a bit of a longer conversation that I'd wanted. For example, I saw on the list, we had Emma. But nevertheless, if maybe I can just look at it maybe in a nutshell, because when I speak from this angle, it's a little bit complex for especially the newcomers to get to know. Okay, I've been given more minutes. Thank you, Shira. Okay, maybe let me start from universal acceptance. This is ideally still an ICANN initiative to make sure that all internet-enabled systems can handle all domain names and email addresses, including the new ones, the ones we are talking about here, the internationalized domain names. So all these domain names need to work in every system, irrespective of the long ones I've talked about, the internationalized domain names, the non-Latin script, especially. Remember, I talked about, I gave example of the Chinese scripts, the Arabic scripts, then also the email addresses need to be accepted. So ideally, that's what universal acceptance is. And why universal acceptance is very important in line with the implementation of the next round is because of we need to make sure that the internationalized domain names are supported in these systems. I don't know if we are getting the correlation between these two. So why universal acceptance matters, because of course what we go back to, that internet has gone beyond the original what I usually call the legacy GTLDs. It has expanded to include the non-Latin, what we call the non-English standards. So here previously some applications, for example, websites were not compatible with all the email addresses. For example, registrations would fail. There was a barrier, there was conflict resolution. But now with the adoption of universal acceptance, this software, the systems are able to read and are compatible with everywhere. They are very, very compatible. So I can, through the universal acceptance, and I think the working groups, for example, I think Cliff is what part of them, universal acceptance steering groups, those work to educate developers, promoters, so that at least developers and also promote the inclusivity online. So in a nutshell, in the few minutes that have been given, slides are being shared on screen, is more of including, is more of building a more of a modern internet where these domain names and email addresses work everywhere. So that's why it's very important for us. Why from the GTLDs angle, why we need universal acceptance is because we need our internationalized domain names to be compatible, and that's why universal acceptance comes in. It is a little bit a broader topic that wouldn't be easily combined. I'd want to speak it individually, but since my angle has been on the new GTLDs, I've just given, like a skeleton, just in a nutshell, of why we need universal acceptance to be, for us to have a very well implementation of the new GTLDs. Thank you so much, Shira. I guess I've not exceeded my time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. You have managed to keep time. Don't worry. We have Patrick coming up in exactly 1 minute. Yeah. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat. But we shall circle back to universal acceptance to break it down as to why it affects everyone, even people that are not in the technical bit of internet users. Yeah. So I think Patrick, kindly confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Sheila, and confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you, but you're breaking a bit. Patrick, are you there?
Oh, okay. Confirm that you can hear me, Sheila. Yeah, can you hear me?
We had lost you for a bit.
Okay.
You can proceed. You can proceed. The floor is yours. Thank you. Kindly be reminded that you have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, colleagues on the call. Right away, we are transitioning to our second section or segment of our today's readout. And I would like to confirm that we have the following speakers: Mr. Emmanuel Oru, Jesse Nathan Kalangi, Tohaise Robert, Isabel Odida, and Nebat.
Patrick.
Yes, Sheila. Yes, Sheila.
Patrick, Jesse's part is going to be covered by Cliff. Cliff, kindly confirm if you can hear me.
100%. I was just trying to make a roll call to see if I have all the speakers, but it's fine. If you know you're going to cover a session and you're around, it's very fine. So, colleagues, a lot has been said, and we are trying to look at the landscape. Oh, thank you. I can see some reactions at the internet landscape, bringing it from the global perspective to make it fit in the Ugandan context. It's majorly what we're going to go through and what we've been going through for the previous earlier hours from the previous speakers. So our first section in this segment, we are looking at, aware that for every meeting that we hold, we usually do a joint statement that's raised, formulated, and presented by the Afralo and the broader ICANN community at the meeting. So in light of the previous meeting, we are going to discuss highlights from the session and implication of Uganda's digital policy and the domain name systems strategy. And our today's speaker is Mr. Emmanuel Oruk, a distinguished internet advocate, an ICANN fellow, the previous holder of the Paul Muchene Fellowship, and I must really say a speaker. Let's join hands and probably thoughts as we welcome Mr. Emmanuel Oruk. Mr. Emmanuel, over to you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Emmanuel Oruk, an ICANN fellow, as earlier mentioned by Patrick. So today I'll be taking you through a Afralo statement. You're well aware that at every ICANN meeting, Afralo presents a statement basing on the outcomes of internet reports within the region, and all other regions as well have their own different RALOs that they belong to. For the African region, we have the Africa Region at Large Organization, that is AFRALO. All the other regions we have LACNIC for Latin America, EURALO for Europe, we have EPRALO for the Asian Pacific. So I'll be basically focusing on what AFRALO presents at every ICANN meeting, usually when ICANN holds its meetings. So AFRALO reports to ALAC. ALAC is the At-Large Advisory Committee. And at ALAC, they usually have a meeting with the board, but also AFRALO has a separate meeting with the ICANN board. So in this ICANN board meeting, particularly for the AFRALO session and for the presentation of the statement was titled Bridging the Digital Divide and Internet Fragmentation Risks in Africa. You're well aware that most of the African regions, with the recent example being Tanzania, it has had a lot of internet fragmentations and internet shutdowns, and significantly affecting the impact of internet access within the region and for the different activities or economies running in those countries. So most of the discussions were focusing on internet fragmentations, and the statement appreciated the opportunity to engage and reflect on a broader perspective discussion on internet fragmentation, noting its alignment with the issues raised in the initial statement, because you're well aware that at the previous ICANN meeting, the policy forum, internet fragmentation was also mentioned at the AFRALO report. So it came up again in the recent AGM meeting that was held in Dublin. So these are cross-cutting issues that are being experienced globally, but also focusing to our region. It affects development and also how things run within the region. So the next thing that came out very well from the statement is that people lack a shared definition of internet fragmentation. For example, when you look at governments shut down internet basically on their interest, not at the interest of the internet users. So you'll notice that when an internet shutdown or fragmentation occurs, some of the people, for example, policymakers or even lawmakers, do not understand how they can approach the entire conversation. But looking at it, governments are usually influencing most of these internet shutdowns within the regions. And in Uganda as well, in our previous elections, we also had internet shutdowns as well. And in the upcoming one, there are suspicions that the internet will go off as well. So you can see how some of these issues keep coming up every time ICANN has a meeting. So I want to draw your attention to one of the regional frameworks, that is the African Commission on Human Rights and People's Rights, the ACPR documentation, and one of the declarations they made on internet freedoms and expression and access to technology in their principle 38, which talks about non-interference, that ensures that governments or states must not interfere in the right of individuals to access information. But when you look at it, the implementation of some of these frameworks, which are regionally adopted by, for example, the African Union, it's not being implemented fully by governments or member states within the region. So it affects the work of ICANN in ensuring that internet shutdowns and fragmentations are reduced. But this is a work in progress. We know it's the African region not only experiencing this, but we're working closely with the different governments to ensure that most of these global frameworks, its implementation with regard to internet fragmentations and shutdowns needs addressed. So the next thing the statement talks about is focused on the importance of collaboration among member states. And this specifically, it focused on strengthening cooperation as it's seen essential in harmonizing the regulatory frameworks within the region and also enhancing cross-border connectivity. So the statement talked about another key thing, which is multilingualism. And earlier on, Alan focused on it, the universal acceptance. For example, you'll notice that the fragmentation debate, much as the internet is dominated in English or French or, for example, Portuguese, this leaves other indigenous or minority language, which is in the underserved regions, which are not represented on the internet. So a brief talk on universal acceptance, like Alan requested. Universal acceptance is not very technical as such, but there is also a very technical component as well. So universal acceptance is an initiative started by ICANN to ensure that there is awareness raising for governments, states, organizations, companies, and internet end users about the importance of having access to the internet in their local language. For example, if you speak Kiswahili, or if you speak Luganda, or if you speak Zulu, you would formally love to access the internet and get all that content in Zulu or in Swahili or in Luganda. But look at it in such a way that when you're accessing the internet, every time you must know English. That is a division, and it doesn't allow inclusion of other regions to participate on the internet space. So what universal acceptance focuses on, like Alan mentioned earlier, for us to interact on the internet with our local languages through internationalized domain names. For example, he talked about .jp, which is one of the internationalized domain names. And then you have most of the different languages within the world having access on the technical side of universal acceptance, which I don't want to go into it. And then looking at all this, the initiative is meant to allow us to have access to the internet in our local languages and not being excluded from participating within the internet space. So that is one of the key outcomes that has also been focused and seen on the upcoming AFRALO statement, which I believe might also focus on the next ICANN meeting, which is going to happen in Mumbai. So AFRALO statement also focused on the need.
Your time is up, but I think in just a few seconds, you can summarize.
All right, let me finish quickly. So therefore, AFRALO statement also focused on the need for interstate collaboration. That means governments working together with governments and also partnering with civil society to ensure that the frameworks that are internationally designed to ensure access on internet is well aligned with the policies in the country, but also focusing on the DNS. We talked about DNS security as well. The AFRALO statement also highlighted the need for DNS awareness and capacity building within the region. And this I'll speak to one of the ICANN initiatives, which is the Coalition for Digital Africa. So you notice that the DNSSEC have been running a roadshow for the DNS awareness and capacity building through the Coalition for Digital Africa in partnership with the Association for African Universities to make sure that they raise awareness on the importance of the DNS and how governments can adopt DNS security within their different technical tools that they use, like websites, emails, and the rest of it. And most of this is focused on raising awareness to ensure that we have a better internet ecosystem, which is highly interoperable and also very secure. So with this, I beg to submit, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emma and colleagues. Without further and wasting time, let's keep comments in the chat, and perhaps at the end of the session, we are going to have a Q&A session. At this juncture, allow me welcome Daniel Nangaka, a dedicated contributor to the community. He's been active within the at-large advisory committee and AFRALO ICANN working groups, helping strengthen Africa's voice in global internet governance. His commitment to capacity at building, policy engagement, and empowering internet users has made him a key figure in advancing technical understanding across the region. Daniel is going to take us through the DNS, how it works, key takeaways from the Tech Day, and root server operations. Daniel, over to you in just like 3 or 4, 5 minutes.
Yeah, just give me just 1 minute. I just settle myself and I'll be able to give my quick talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Colleagues, as Daniel is getting ready, if there is anyone who had perhaps a questions that we can answer to the pre-current speaker.
Recording in progress.
Daniel here, can you hear me?
Yes, Daniel, you've already spent a minute of your time, so
Yeah,
you'll
absolutely.
have some within 4 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just simply talk into the DNS ecosystem and how do we actually understand how the DNS works. One of the things is that if I'm going to assume that the DNS is a little bit technical, and to be able to understand the context is that ICANN is where the deep technical decisions that keep the internet running are made. ICANN 84 focused heavily on the infrastructure resilience and the DNS security and internet stability. Uganda is not just a consumer of the internet, but we must also acknowledge that we are also builders and operators and protectors of this critical infrastructure. Despite all that, we make the invisible internet understandable and useful for Uganda. How does this DNS work? The DNS is a phone book. And this phone book, a simple explanation is that the DNS translates the names like google.com into machine-readable IP addresses. Without the DNS, the internet would be unusable. And if the internet is unusable, we wouldn't even be having these meetings that we're holding right now. We wouldn't be having these readouts. Every website, every email, every app depends on the DNS. And the DNS works through queries, and these queries travel through multiple systems before reaching the final answer. But the speed at which it moves, there is a lot of reliability and security of the DNS that affect national productivity. So in the local angle, if the DNS infrastructure is weak, then the internet users experience slow connections, they experience website failures, they experience high vulnerability to the cyber threats. And through all that, what happens is that we go into the third step, which is called the root servers. These root servers are the starting point of the DNS. And when the DNS cannot find any answer locally, Then it goes right into querying the top-level domain servers like the .com, .org, and so forth, including the .ug. So important facts is that there are 13 logical root servers globally, and each is replicated across the world through Anycast. And they do not store websites because these websites are stored somewhere in what we call the hosting servers. And through this, to be able to protect the internet, these root servers prevent the fragmentation of the internet, they prevent the manipulation of the internet, and then also they prevent the global outages. So, in relevance to Uganda, if a country hosts the operations of the DNS, then they are able to get faster access, they're able to get better resilience or improved resilience, and then it also contributes to strengthening of the digital sovereignty. And this is where we begin to position Uganda. How are we strategically aligned to protecting our digital sovereignty? Obviously, we know we have the internet exchange point, which routes traffic, which is one of our digital sovereignties, and it lowers the traffic interchanges between Uganda and the outside world. Focusing on the tech day today is that what the global engineers are focusing on from ICANN 84 is that there is a lot of focus on the DNS security, which is the DNSSEC adoption. There's also a very strong focus on the root server scaling. We all know that the IPv4 is running out. So we looked at the IPv6 deployment. Another interesting topic that cannot be left out these days in discussions is that what are the AI-related traffic impacts to the DNS? And through that, there was a global call for protection against the DOS attacks. And through that, the insights that are coming is that the internet is becoming more and more complex. There are more and more attacks going on. And through that, we cannot manage today's internet using yesterday's capacity. So we as technical persons or technical experts into these fields, let's localize skills, and these skills must be able to grow with the global complexity of the internet. Through that, the current challenges that are faced within Uganda's DNS and infrastructure reality check is that there is over-reliance on foreign infrastructure. There is limited local DNS expertise. There is low awareness of the DNS policies versus operations. And there is also minimal participation in global technical communities. These pose potential risks in service destruction. There is a lot of economic impact that is affected because of the DNS. To make matters even more interesting, there is a cyber vulnerability amidst the strong digital dependency. So what should we be able to do on this? We should be able to strengthen our local DNS operators and registrars. As a country, we should be able to adopt DNSSEC nationally. We should also be able to support the Uganda Internet Exchange Point and caching, as well as training engineers to understand the DNS ecosystem. And also, I cannot say that since I've been participating in ICANN, AFRINIC, and ITF meetings for quite some time, for those who haven't, I encourage you to participate because this is a very strong learning point for capacity building, whereby you can be able to learn more about how Uganda can be able to position ourselves into the national internet resilience strategies. The main thing is about we are going digital. The digital infrastructure is growing. National infrastructure is going. So I'll just simply say the big idea is the digital infrastructure is the national infrastructure, which we have to make sure that we move according to the speed at which it's all growing. DNS is just technical. It affects the economy of the country. It affects the political situation. And it also affects the strategic direction of where we as Ugandans are moving to. We cannot just simply treat the internet as just a luxury. The internet is a public utility, and even the UN considers it these days as a human right because without the internet, it's difficult to scale. We as Ugandans, we should be able to shift from just simply being users to be able to build the internet of trust, an internet of resilience, because our resilience tomorrow depends on the investment that we put into the internet today. So those who control infrastructure, they control the opportunities. We as Ugandans must not stand on the edge of the internet, but we must stand at its core. Thank you.
Very, very great insights. Daniel, colleagues, if we have any question, let's have it in the chat. We are nearing the tail end of the session so that we can have them discussed, or you can jot or note it down. Moving on to our next speaker is an experienced ICT professional with a strong academic and industrial background with demonstrated history of excellence in IT consulting training, lecturing, and project management. He has accumulated extensive experience across higher education institutions in areas as network administration, e-learning web systems. He's passionate about technology in education. IT capacity building environments. He's been to actively engage in the internet ecosystem and Uganda and beyond. Robert Tuhaise. Mr. Robert Tuhaise, you're welcome to speak to the Ugandan community about the DNS Academy. Mr. Robert Tuhaise, over to you.
Thank you so much. That was a really very generous introduction. Just for to see my face, I'll turn on my video just for a short time, then I'll mute it. My name is Robert Tracy, as been introduced. Just like you have introduced me, I've been in an ICANN space previously as an ICANN fellow, actually, back in ICANN. ICANN, what was it, 40? It's been really a long time. ICANN 47. I attended ICANN 47 as a fellow in Durban, South Africa. But I've been partly engaged in the space here. And yeah, so for this session, I've been asked to talk about the capacity building as regards to the DNS Academy. Just as you have introduced me, I'm really in the space of capacity building. I work in a university. I worked in a university actually for all the time that I've been in the working time. I've been working in the university. So capacity building is something really I do all the time. As Daniel's presentation has been, you realize there's quite a lot of technical jargon that is used here and there. The internet is used by everyone. So there's limited local capacity on DNS, first of all, but also there's limited participation as a country in global activities as regards the internet, and yet this internet has to be used by everyone. So to address these capacity gaps, especially locally here, about the DNS and to be able to build a resilient internet ecosystem, the DNS Forum proposed the establishment of a DNS Academy. This is going to be a dedicated capacity building and learning initiative designed to promote DNS knowledge, foster innovation, and ensure a secure and inclusive digital future for Uganda. So this is basically to bridge the capacity. you'll notice that there are many initiatives. ICANN has these training initiatives. Afrinic as well has these training initiatives. So the idea here is not to duplicate effort. The idea is to bring these initiatives locally here and try to bring them to our local community. Our approach will also be that we shall be able to use the same content and the training that are done by ICANN and Afrinic to deliver to our local community here. So the objectives will be to deliver a structured training and certification program on DNS, DNSSEC, and internet infrastructure, promote local research and innovation around DNS, raise awareness on the DNS security and resilience, and then foster collaboration across the different sectors and the different stakeholders who use the internet, and then support the national ICT and digital transformation agenda. So just again, that we all know that the internet is a multi-stakeholder. So we expect that this training will target quite a number of participants, including university students, network engineers, and system administrators, domain registrars and resellers, government and regulatory agencies, private sector, ICT departments, civil society, internet governance, domain name owners and end users, including users of the internet. We are proposing that we shall have a sustainability and a partnership model where we hope to engage with partnerships with Afrinic, with ICANN, ISOC. We also proposing to integrate into the national ICT capacity building framework, but also focus on building long-term skills development and internet resilience. Finally, we have a website which you can visit. If you can give me just a few more minutes, let me share the website. It's academy.dnsforum.ug. Let me just type it in the chat. You'll find a lot of information about the DNS Academy and what we're trying to start. This is something that is new. This is something we're trying to build. It's actually, thank you, it's shared there. It is something we are thinking will build capacity on the use and DNS, and I mean adoption, and build expertise around local expertise. So we want to localize this expertise. As we've mentioned, really, our participation in these global initiatives, these global events is very limited. If you attend any of these ICANN meetings, or even Afrinic, you'll see the level of participation as a country is actually still low. Our local capacity is still low. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I submit. Thank you.
Okay, very great insight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Robert, for taking us through. Just to confirm, do we have Isabel Odita or Nebat Ashaba on the call before I usher us onto the next item? Yeah, if we do not have those ones, I think I will have to request us to move on to the next section, of the program, which is the question and answer section, as we get to hear from the conveners. So colleagues, if anyone had written down a question or something that probably needed clarity, or you needed clarity on, this is the time for you to perhaps raise your hand or unmute and ask the question so that you hear from Okay, I assume the speakers were articulate enough for us to pick all that they disseminated to us. At this point, I request you allow me invite Cliff Agawa to take us on the next section. Cliff, over to you.
Thank you.
Cliff, you have 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick. Allow me just 1 minute to set up my screen, and we can begin.
Sorry, allow me interject.
Yes, Sheila?
Doreen.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Doreen.
Good afternoon. I have a question. I've tried to access. Okay, I'm wondering whether the DNS Academy page is already active, because I've been trying to register or form an account and I'm not able to register. It's only showing me a page for login. Did you get that?
Yes, we've got a question. I think, Cliff, could you be in position to answer that before you start to give us your package for today?
Yes. Just like Robert mentioned, the website is still under construction, and thank you so much for bringing that to our notice. And we'll make sure that we have that sorted in this earliest time possible. Yeah. All right. I hope you can all see my screen. You please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yeah, you can see your screen, but you put it in slideshow.
All right.
Clear.
So, great. My name is Pakawa, and I'm the convener for the Guinness Forum. And I am so happy that we are having this ICANN multiple readouts under the tradition. We'll be doing these readouts a few weeks after the Guinness, after the ICANN meetings. And then after that, we shall be doing some stakeholder engagement to concretize the different conversations or deliberations that have been discussed in the ICANN meetings. So I'll just run over it through. So the non-technical people, I'd like to just share a bit insights about DNS. We all have backbones, and without the backbones, we are not able to know. Now, just like as the backbone for the internet is the DNS, and Daniel Nangaka mentioned that it's a core infrastructure that is needed for our internet to run, and without it, it breaks, it crumbles down. So it acts as a mentioned that acts like the phone book with the address book to the internet, and that connects users to websites and online services, and that it also translates the main names IP addresses. Now, keeping the domain name system secure is one of the agendas for the DNS forum, and ensuring that the internet is fast, reliable, and safe to access different online services for those of you who do online banking, for those of you who have classes online. And then also, it's important that you know that the internet usage in Uganda is growing rapidly. And because it's growing rapidly, having such initiatives like the DNS forum is key for us to have a good and fast, reliable internet. Now, the forum, we know that the internet is for everyone, and because it's for everyone, it is like the multi-stakeholder. That's why the forum unites people from academia, from civil society, government, and private sector. You, whether you're a lawyer, you're a business person, it's for you, and it's important for you to take part in the DNS forum. So some of the objectives are to raise awareness, and one of the ways which we raise awareness is through things like the DNS Academy. And also the second objective is to promote best practices, and these can be seen in things like the hackathon and also publications. We're currently working on a set of DNS in Uganda, which we invite many of you to contribute or review before we publish it later this year. The other objective is to foster collaboration. That is where you and I come in. We know that grades are better than one, so it's important for us to have foster collaboration. And then also to do policy development, especially for things that concern us. It's important for you to not shape the policies that govern you. And then, of course, put things for capacity building. So the key question is, what is the target audience? Target audience, I've already mentioned some of them. One is the government and regulatory bodies. We have the ISPs. We have the domain name registrars and industries. We have network operators. We have cybersecurity experts, and we have institutions. We also have non-governmental organizations. We have entrepreneurs and startups. And then, of course, we have the general public and leaders. So let me just take the run through of the activities. The activities, we have two activities. There are activities that happen during the annual DNS forum, and then activities that happen in between one DNS forum and another. So during the forum, this year we had the inaugural DNS forum that happened at Uganda Communications Commission. And we had keynote speeches, we had panel discussions and some networking sessions. One of the things that didn't happen is workshops, but we continue to have that in the next upcoming DNS forum. So the whole structure for the DNS forum is keynote speeches, panel discussions, workshops, networking sessions, policy roundtables, and then of course the hackathon, which will happen before the DNS forum. So post DNS forum, we have early next year, we shall be launching the DNS podcast. It's called DNS dialogues, and it brings together experts and community voices from Uganda to unpack how the DNS shapes secure and resilient internet. And please welcome us when we call upon you to be a part of this podcast, because your voice matters in this. Then the DNS hackathon, we had the DNS hackathon earlier this year. It being the first one, there are lots of things that we learned. One of them is capacity building. That's why we were compelled to set up the DNS Academy, so that we can educate the participants of the hackathon and the different elements of the internet, because some people know about this, some people. Yeah, so I won't talk much about the academy, because Price and Robert have talked about it. And I'll like to have a few expected outcomes. One of them is improved awareness, and we're looking at having a 40% increase in business knowledge and awareness among at least 200 stakeholders by next year, including ISPs and the tech community and all. And then also improved practices, for example, DNS at the CCTV level, DNS is very good. But when you come to the user level, the levels are very, very low. So in conjunction with other partners and stakeholders, we shall be launching the DNS roadshow, in which we shall be able to make sure that at least DNS adoption at user level is the percentages are increased. And then, of course, we are looking at forward to having enhanced collaboration to improve our partnerships. And then, of course, make some policy recommendations to feed into the national ICT policies. And then, of course, skills development, which shall be happening through the Skills Academy, DNS Hackathon. So that is all from me, and thank you so much. The panelists, thank you so much to the moderators and all of you that have managed to make it for this DNS, sorry, ICANN 84 without. Look forward to your active participation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out even after the meetup has ended. And thank you so much, and over to you, Patrick.
Thank you, Cliff. I think you're still the one who's going to take back the mantle, unless colleagues on the call have some questions. Okay, back to you, Cliff.
Again, I just want to extend my sincere appreciation for making it for today's readout. Like I said, the internet is for everyone. It is not for selected few, it's for everyone. And having you here really means a lot. And I just want to end with that by charging you to be more active, to deliberate, to get to acquire more knowledge about what the DNS is, what it does, and how it can benefit you. Because the things that we're doing today are going to go on for generations, with your children, to your children's children. So having the active participation is very important. And my ending remarks or my closing remarks is a important thanks to you. Friday engagements are usually have low participation because of conflicting engagements. Some of you have weddings, some of you have parties to attend or graduations. But I just want to thank you for joining this almost 2 hours. And I've noticed our participation has been consistent right from the beginning. overall, we had sign-ups of 96. We've now had a consistent attendance of oscillating between 19 to 21. So I just want to say thank you, and I hope you've learned a lot from this. I can looking for it out, and I just want to encourage you to look out for the next meetings. ICANN has few meetings like that. There's the public forum, the community forum, and the annual general meeting. So every after an ICANN meeting, we have an ICANN readout where we localize the discussions that are happening on the global level, and we bring them down to the local level, to the Uganda DNS forum. And I encourage you to be part of this and find a way through fellowships. A couple of the people that have been running the strategy just ICANN fellows, and fellowships are one of the main points for you to get to know about the governance, get to know about how ICANN works, and there's an upcoming fellowship that is ICANN 85, place in March next year in Mumbai, India. But this is for returning fellows. But the other good fellowships, the annual meeting and the community forum are open to newcomers. So I do encourage you to, whenever the opportunities come out, feel free to apply and invest with assistance with your applications. That's one of the objectives of the forum is to assist you with your application. You know, you can be able to do it yourself and the community that you serve. Thank you so much. I'll give just a few more minutes for any other business before we close up the meeting today, but I'm still 10 minutes before the hour. So if there's any other business that you'd like to discuss, I'll take that. Well, I can see the silence. Maybe just before I close the meeting for today, I would like to confirm from you if you're okay with us including you in the mailing list so that we can be giving you continuous updates regarding the different activities and opportunities that will be happening at the Uganda DNS forum and how we can be able to participate. So if you are okay with that, you can do a thumbs up. Okay. Then one more last thing, you can, if you're able to switch on your mic, please feel free to switch on your camera so that we can take a virtual picture. I can see you guys are looking sharp on the Friday morning. Put the smiles on as we wait for the rest to open their cameras. They can see you. Good to have you guys. All right, that's one more minute. Please open up your mics. maybe before, as we are having our cameras open, I'd like to invite a friend, a colleague, gentleman I've known for a couple of years. He's a friend sector in our technical ecosystem. And I know it's a bit of that, but it's on. Could you please speak to us for just a few seconds, talk about what a postal light and yeah, some of the key takeaways.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Cliff, and the entire team that has joined today's meeting. It's amazing to see us taking over what has been dominated by the outside world. So I'm happy that even this meeting we are over 15, 20. To me, these are good numbers. And even if you called and only one person came, it is okay. Let's keep the momentum. Let's keep it going. Some things might sound so technical, of course, as we go along. We shall follow you on, Cliff, as you explain to us. Briefly, I'm Dixon Mushabe. I've been in this business for like 15 years plus. The business of website systems. So when you mention DNS, for me, it touches my heart. Started from small, you could say one-man company, to now employing over 20 people plus. That is Hostelite. Gone through the stages of a startup. Well, I think I'm still a startup, but gone through the stages of a startup. Hustled through. Those who have seen my books, I've written 3 books about my mistakes, about starting small and growing big. I wish you could find one and read it. Maybe Cliff, I'll give a copy to each one here, or at least 3 people. Cliff, it's up to you to select. The criteria is up to you. I'll offer you the 3 books. Cliff, it's up to you. Yeah, but just a word of encouragement. I've seen companies start. I've seen some offer service and close. I've seen some go through the result process and make it. So I think we can make it. I think it's possible to move from charging your clients 0.5 Uganda shillings to 40 million, 10K US dollars. It's possible. If I asked you now, how many of us are on the national supply database, even as individual consultants or even as companies, because there are opportunities in oil and gas, and these guys come in just looking for partners, as long as you're in the NSD. So how positioning ourselves as developers, as programmers, as tech enthusiasts to take these opportunities, being that IT is now request for oil and gas. I don't know who I'm talking to, but maybe this message would just be for one person who needed that register on the NSD, and the partner is waiting for you out there to partner and make a joint venture and make business. Otherwise, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to support. I'm happy to grow the sector and the economy. And Cliff, anytime I'm around to give 1 cent of what I think can grow this sector. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dixon, and for stepping up to the call. And the reason as why I brought you on to speak is because you represent many of the business constituencies, which is one of the areas that uh, um, which is one of the other areas which I want to highlight among others. Just allow me a minute to share my screen quickly before we close this off. And I promise I won't be the person in between you and the lunch. Yeah, so you see, like I said, the internet is for everyone. Every one of us is a part of building it. And there are three areas that I want to mention. There are registrars, there are registries, and there are registrants when it comes to the three areas that I want to talk about. And Posterlite is one of those companies that falls under the category of registrants. For example, if you go on to sign up for the domain on their website, they do that whole process. They do that for you. But I do encourage you to explore the ICANN website. So many different areas where you can participate, whether you're a technical person or a person into policy development, or you're an accountant, or you are a student. It is for you. And you can find your place because there are so many topics for discussion. But through such engagements, you get to learn where you can have your active participation. And then after that, you bring back the conversation back here to see how we can implement that in our communities. It's exactly 1 p.m. and I promise this time if you switch on your cameras, I'm not going to ask you for anything else. I'll just take the virtual group photo and then we can put to them. I can see Joy, instead of already on. Sheila, Emma, Clement, Solomon, Alan, Daniel, Emmanuel Oruk, Judith Iseka, Immaculate Leka, Doreen Andutu, Marvin, Beatrice, Mafadi, Robert. All right, let me give you up to about 30 seconds and then you can take a good photo and put it today. All right, the first shot has gone. It's another second round of call. And going once, going twice, going thrice, and this is the last shot. Thank you so much. It's exactly 1 minute after minute one. Please don't hesitate to call me for lunch. In case you're very far away, you can still order through Glovo. My package will arrive. My menu is very, very simple. Just whatever you feel free that you want to send over. And I'll say this in Uganda, so I will be waiting for your lunch greetings. And allow me to say
wait,
bye-bye.
are you buying us lunch? Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Actually, Dixon, it's the other way around. But whoever sends me lunch, I promise I'll give you a book from Dixon. So there are 3 books up for grabs. So use this information wisely. All right, allow me to bring this meeting to a close, and I will be sharing also so that you know it's this meeting has been streamed live on YouTube, so you can access the recording there, but then also will be put on the mailing list if you allow, and we shall be able to. Oh, we have one person from Tanzania. Thank you so much. It's great to see someone from another country attending. And thank you so much. And this is proof that the internet is for everyone. And oh, Joy, you're requesting for a book. You know what to do. Anyways, I'll call upon the successful participants who have accepted. So who are going to receive the book. All right. Let me not waste any more of your time for lunch. Allow me to say thank you again, and yeah, bye. Bring this meeting to a close. Have a nice day.